The Bills are so inconsistent. Like, and I know like at this time of the year, there are a lot of inconsistencies within teams. So it's still early. And I'm like, okay, we'll give people the benefit of the doubt. It's not halfway through the season yet. But there's just something about the inconsistency with this team that just baffles me. So they'll come out like they did last night against the Bucs. You could see that they were getting it going early. It was going to be a good night for them. And then you say to yourself, this can't possibly be the same team that lost to the Giants. And that barely won against the Giants. And it can't be the same team that lost to the Patriots. So it's like, no, I have not changed how I feel about this team. And I certainly haven't changed how I feel about Josh Allen. I will give them some credit though, Nat, because the way that they've started this season, they have had 4 games that were horrible. So I will give them some credit. I think their defense was solid last night. They still don't have Tre'Davious White, still didn't have Matt Milano, still doesn't have Daquan Jones. So I know that those have been the excuses that people have used for this defense to be a little subpar in moments, but they did well without them last night. They didn't have a big game from Stephon Diggs last night. So that was great that they were able to still put up some offensive production without him. And then, it was nothing that this Bucs team was going to be able to do anyway, because it's Baker Mayfield. But girl, no, I'm still not sold on Josh Allen. I am still not on his train.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not either. So, and you know what? They were inconsistent even within that game last night, right? So I think I tweeted at one point, I was like, there's the Josh Allen I know, because when he threw that interception and the Bucs tied up the game. We kind of got a game for a while, and then the Bucs really couldn't get much going in that second half until late. But that's the point. It was till late. They almost let them back in. If a Hail Mary is a Hail Mary, we get it. But like, they could have still won that game, and so, they're just inconsistent to me. I don't ever feel confident like, okay, they got this. They're going to win even when they have a lead. I am waiting and I'm expecting the inevitable, which is a Josh Allen interception, but I'm expecting him typically to turn over the football at some point. So shout out to the Bills. They realized like this was a game that they needed to have and needed to win. At this point, Bucs 3 in a row. I don't think their season's really going anywhere. It was promising to start, but it doesn't look like anymore. But the Bills, they got to make sure they keep pace with the Dolphins, right? And so they really can't fall too far below them. And so, they won the game, I guess. But yes, I haven't changed my opinion either on Josh Allen. So we'll just see. I see all these headlines like, oh, there's the real Josh Allen. Okay, is it like for a half? Is it for a
totally
game?
Not the real. Totally not the real Josh Allen. Like I was one too who was fooled by Josh Allen. I was like, oh, Josh Allen is that dude. He's tier 1. No, Josh Allen will absolutely cost more games than he will win them.
You know what?
And
that headline, he does finally look like Josh Allen, because like I saw an inconsistent quarterback last night, in my opinion.
Okay, I'm not even mad at that. And what's crazy is the ball that I still think that he's really careless with the ball, right? And yes, the interception that you're referring to, okay, people will say, well, it was batted down. Yeah, it was. But at the end of the day, it still resulted in the Bucs getting a touchdown, which made the game a lot closer than maybe it actually should have been. And so there are just things he still needs to clean up. So no, I am not back on this Josh Allen train. I think it's going to take him getting to the Super Bowl for me to jump back on the Josh Allen train. I'm just not seeing it. But kudos to the win last night. It definitely was much deserved. They needed that for a confidence booster. They needed to get that done just to give them some energy after coming off that bad loss against New England.
I don't care if he's undefeated on Thursday Night Football. You know who else was too? The quarterback he played. Somebody had to lose. It doesn't mean anything to me. It doesn't mean anything to me. But you know what I found interesting? When I was watching the broadcast last night, they said that, Josh Allen is second in turnovers. And I was just like, It made me curious about like who else is on that list. And, because there's been a lot of MVP talks and like all kinds of stuff, right? So Desmond Ridder is actually leading the league in turnovers with combined interceptions and fumbles lost, right? But look at and again, this isn't an exhaustive list, so I don't want people to think I'm cherry picking, but we focused on the quarterbacks whose names have been in the MVP conversation in some way or another, right? And I think right now, the six that are here, the top six, Vegas has them as the top six. So when you look at this, I mean, my guy, Jalen, I hate to see it because people are gonna be like, you're bashing Josh Allen, but Jalen Hurts is on here. Well, you know what? Jalen Hurts, the Eagles have a better record and it's not 2 games. So that doesn't look correct to me, but the Eagles. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, I think what surprises me most when I look at this list is that the quarterbacks that are on it, like over 3/4 of them have very good pass catchers. Like Jalen Hurts, you've got an AJ Brown. Lamar Jackson probably don't really have what we would think would constitute as like a strong pass catching core. Patrick Mahomes is on that list. You've got Travis Kelce, like Tua, you've got Tyreek Hill. It feels like maybe you're forcing things that you don't necessarily need to force, which would create these moments of turnovers. But I don't know, maybe it's just, maybe it's just going that way. Is this that kind of season? But it feels like these are things that could be cleaned up without the forced passes. And that might be difficult. When you got a Tyreek Hill in your ear saying, hey, get me the ball. You got an AJ Brown in your ear saying, get me the ball. You might make mistakes like that.
But here's the thing, right? It's like, when you look at, because there always comes up the question, or I guess when people start to talk about these QBs, it's always like, well, look, Patrick Mahomes, he doesn't have anybody. I mean, he has Travis Kelce, like arguably someone who's in the conversation for maybe being one of the best, if not the best tight end of like all time. So let's stop here, right? And then people like to talk about Jalen's weapons and they like to talk about Brock Purdy's weapons. And I get it. The list goes on and on. But at the end of the day, you need to have weapons, right? And in this league where, quarterbacks, like, they have the arms, they can throw it, they're going to pass. I get it. So we might even have some more turnovers. So I don't care about that much. But at the end of the day, it's still about, can you help your team get the wins? Are you costing your team more than you are helping your team? And I think that's really the question about Josh Allen, right? So, you look here and it's like, yeah, Jalen, he only had 6 turnovers last season, or 6 interceptions rather last season, but this year he already has 8, right? So it's been like a big topic of conversation, but the Eagles are still 6-1, and he's a large part of why they're 6-1. And one of the things I always talk about with Jalen is like, I wish he didn't make the initial mistake, but it's like, it doesn't even faze him. It happens. And then on the next drive, he just comes back, and almost always, I need to really dig into the statistics on that. Cause like, it seems like the next drive, he always comes back and they score. It's just like, I messed up, I'm going to make up for it, And Josh Allen, yes, it's like, he also, I think, is a leader in many things, in many categories, but it's like you also like just have these turnovers and they're either at the worst time, they hurt your team. It's just, to me, it's a theme with him, and it's costing his team, I think, a little bit more than some of the other quarterbacks who you saw on that list, right? Like Patrick Mahomes has 6. And he let Zach Wilson outplay him in a game, which is rare, but he still had a great game. It's weird. Like, he still sort of had a very good game that game. And he also, their record, again, another team with only, 1 loss. So I don't know what to say about Josh Allen, but I do know what to say about the MVP race. And that is that I don't think it's as clear as everyone's making it seem, and I think my feed said like the QB race isn't clear just because it's always a quarterback winning MVP. I know some people have Tyreek Hill in the conversation, but I'm just looking, and I think we're really going to have to see the season play out more and either see like some stellar, Patrick Mahomes had a great game last week. It was probably his best of the season, right? So we need to see like a stellar game or like a team separate themselves. But we need to see something because I think right now it could be a number of those quarterbacks on the list.
Yeah, see, you already touched on exactly where I was getting ready to go, which is there's no guarantee that the MVP is going to be a quarterback, although it does naturally feel like majority of the time it favors the quarterback, or the offensive player of the year will sometimes favor the quarterback. But I don't necessarily believe that the MVP has to always be a quarterback. It could be another player that separates themselves. But I do agree with you that there is no quarterback right now, at least not in week 8, right? Like, aren't we week 8, week 5? We're like week 8, right?
Yeah, week 8 just started with last night.
My goodness. Oh my God. So yes, we are almost halfway through the season already, which is crazy. So I don't think that there is a quarterback that has separated themselves so far. Although I do believe that I think early in the season, we kind of saw glimpses of who could be in the MVP conversation. We saw that with Tua. The way that this Miami Dolphins team started off the season was incredibly impressive. So I could see that. I think Patrick Mahomes and Jalen Hurts are always going to be in that conversation throughout the duration of this year. I know that Brock Purdy wasn't going to be in that conversation, but at the end of the day, you got to give a little bit of respect for the fact that the 49ers kind of started off the way that they did. And to your point about turnovers, this Eagles team would absolutely be 7-0 if not for the 4 turnovers that they decided was best for them against the Jets. Come on, Nat.
I know that there's no excusing that game. It was an abysmal performance. I get mad because they should be 7-0. They should be. There's
that. But yeah, I agree with your point 100% though, that it's just there's no clear-cut favorite right now. And I'm guessing that as the season progresses, we will start to see people who will separate themselves. But I do love Lamar Jackson in that conversation right now. I do absolutely respect Tua in that conversation right now. And we'll just see where everyone else falls in line. But Josh Allen is not in that conversation for me and will not be in that conversation for me.
And I was happy to see that because I kept hearing Josh Allen. I said, Josh Allen?
No, absolutely not.
All right. So Vegas is on the same page with us now. But I agree with you. Tua to me has been like in it, but I feel like right now people are like sleeping on Lamar. I think he definitely he needs to be more addressed in this conversation for sure.
Hey, thank you for watching Brother from Another. If you haven't hit that subscribe button, go ahead and do that now. Don't forget you can catch us 3 to 4 weekdays on PeacockTV.com and on Sirius XM Channel 85.